Ladies and gentlemen, you have locked into Rap Life. We're going to talk to Low Key. We're going to talk to Nadeska. What are the most important conversations that are going on in hip-hop right now, as well as run through some of the hottest songs on the playlist. So y'all keep it locked right here. This is Rap Life. J. Cole is done with NBA Africa. That's right, Basketball Africa League. I think it's the BAL, I think is what they call it, but it's associated with the NBA. Matter of fact, let's start there with J. Cole finishing up with the Rwanda Patriots out in Africa, bringing a lot of attention to the league. Lo, who used to play some ball in high school, I believe, in college. Did you play in college too?
No, just in high school.
And then we have Nadeska, who is the super duper J. Cole fan, so this will be a great conversation. J. Cole playing professional basketball in Africa. I thought it was a great look. Not only a great look for him, but a great look bringing attention to the inaugural season of Basketball Africa League. Nadeska, your thoughts on J. Cole playing professional basketball? How did it go? How did it look? How did it end?
All right, so I feel like I have to leave the expert basketball analysis to you two, but I did see some clips. I know there was some controversy surrounding it. Some people felt like he didn't deserve the spot. It should have gone to another player. But, J. Cole doesn't do anything half-heartedly, right? So he didn't just try to jump in and out. He's taking this seriously. Any longtime Cole fan knows, basketball has been important to him his whole career. It's a big theme in the music, and he's talked about this a lot, even with the new project. So he's been training for this. He really wanted to give it a moment. So let's see. The details said he was going to play 3 to 6 games in his contract. So he ended up doing 3 games. What do you have? 5 points, 3 assists, 5 rebounds. So I don't think he had a superstar showing, but he went out there and he played his hardest. So I think it was good, like you said, that he brought some publicity to the league. So I think that's the plus side here. But what do you guys think of his actual performance? I know you have a review.
I mean, the actual performance wasn't too shabby. I mean, I wasn't expecting him to put up 25 points, 10 assists, and 13 rebounds a game. This kid is just getting to something that he really hasn't had, much professional experience in. So I'm just more, happy to see the work he put in to get to that point, and especially during recording an album. On my podcast, let's say Less with Kaz, we had Eve, the president of Dreamville, on there, and he was telling us how he was trying to balance, the off season and getting into shape and taking care of a family. So I'm just more impressed with the process and the dedication that, he lent to it.
Listen, I think it was a great promotion. I think it was, like I said, a great look for J. Cole. Terrell Stoglin is the player in the BAL, Basketball Africa League, who's the league's top scorer, and had to say that he felt like Cole took a spot that could have went to a more deserving person. That was some of the controversy. Look, for somebody like this gentleman, Terrell Stoglin, who's dedicated his life to basketball, he's probably, and I think he may have even said this, he doesn't care about the business side. He wants players to get the proper looks and the craft of basketball. But that's also why some people, don't quite understand the total business of basketball, whether it be the G League, the Basketball Africa League, or any other league, is to sell tickets beyond just, and create interest beyond just the sport itself. When you're an excellent basketball player who also has a high profile and you're deserving, air quotes, deserving of a slot, then it works out for the business. But for the inaugural Basketball Africa League, most of the world, I don't think, was actually paying attention until Jermaine Cole decided to lace him up and do that. And I think that he didn't, look, while we could talk about it, being near and dear to his heart, he didn't have to go play in the Basketball Africa League for, him to, feel like a whole human. He's got a lot of successes, an amazing family, and his own career. I honestly believe he did this because he cares about Africa.
Your interview was really dope. I saw on the last episode or a couple episodes ago, we were talking about the Cole and Diddy fight because you mentioned that on the album, and you guys talked about that. Can you give us a little more insight now?
Yeah, I mean, Eve was very, very transparent about what didn't happen, about the stories about, Kendrick and Puff getting physical. I think it was a mixture of just liquor, a mixture of, ego, Bro, I know you know Puff very well and how, boisterous and,
Puff be mad aggressive.
Yeah,
mad.
So
yeah, that's him.
That was pretty much the blunt of it. It wasn't, any physical altercations. It got tense. That's what he told me. It did get tense. Him and Jay had an exchange. Like, they were looking at each other like, oh, shit, this is about to happen. Then Angela Yee's there, so he's worried about the rumor report. But it wasn't the situation that everybody thought it was. It was just, a VMA party.
Just some tension.
Yeah, just some tension. And then they figured it out that same night, Puff,
Okay.
Puff pulled up on them, I guess at the hotel where they were staying at. And they just got, they hammered it out, they hashed it out, and boom, here we are today.
I just think it's funny that all this tension happened in such a star-studded room.
Yeah.
Like, I'm imagining Beyonce looking on, like, what was Beyonce thinking as she was watching this?
Right,
Like, is Puff really about to fight Cole?
Yeah.
It's pretty ridiculous.
So it was a funny moment, I mean, looking back on it now when Eve was telling us the story, he's like, bro, that is hilarious. He's like, I know these not about to fight at a VMA party. So, everything's good.
How many bout to fights I've seen? Puff is a New York dude, so he's, drinking, overly touching, trying to, you know what I mean? Nah, that's New York, all that. You know what I mean? And then somebody else like, yo, my chill. Nah, this New York. Yo,
It's a great summary. Thank you, bro.
That's basically what happened. The Cole album's a classic. This is one of the best bodies of work from Cole. Let's review it one more time. Now y'all have had another week to live with it. Nadeska, what do you think?
Yo, I'm with you. I was never gonna not enjoy this album, but it's my favorite Cole project in a very, 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 very long time. So,
I mean, yeah, there's nothing really to say. Like, I think you fall more in love with it. You dig deeper into the lyrics. You dig deeper, and again, like, not to keep pumping that interview, but Ebe gave me some great perspective about that creation, about his confidence being rebuilt, about him having to write, these verses and how he was writing these verses and how he was getting conditioned and how he was, sitting with these artists that he collaborated with, like 21 Savage, who has a great relationship with. So my insight now is just way deeper than it was when the album first came out. So the appreciation is there. So it's going to continue to grow, as the summer goes on.
The verses went down. Swizz Beatz and Timbaland. Club Live in Miami. It was a festive affair. The Baby, Nas, Rick Ross, Fab, Busta Rhymes. Let's see, who else was in there? Fat Joe. At one point, Timbaland was so drunk, he had his shirt basically off. Swizz Beatz is over there. He came out his shirt. He's in a tank top. These dudes really was having a good time. Let's go to the cheat sheet curator, Low, for a full recap on what you saw and heard about from Club Live in Miami this week's Verzuz.
I mean, from what I saw and what I looked at, it was a performance. Those two are showmen. They know how to put on a show. Their brotherly love was on full public display, talking shit, taking their shirts off, chains, just talking crazy to each other, but that's how brothers talk to each other. They've been doing this for the last year and a half. They did the first one when they were in their cars in the studio, so it was kind of like just authentic. Now they brought it to the world. They brought it to live. I think that crowd didn't understand the magnitude of classic material that was being played for them, but it was also Live Memorial Day weekend.
Some insight on that.
All right.
I heard that they allowed the industry types in the front and didn't make sure the fans were in the front. So what we saw on camera, which looked like a bunch of people standing around with their phones out, which we all hate to see, I guess in the other parts of the club, people was going crazy, but they weren't in the front.
I mean, I heard
so
it,
they,
you could hear it, like, certain songs
right.
you can hear it, but when you looked at it, like, visually, it's it's like, yo, what the f***? Like, are y'all really serious? Like, these niggas going back and forth playing Aaliyah and Hove and X, and y'all just sitting there, like, drinking your cranberry juice and, like, just not... Like,
wait a minute.
Like,
wait a minute. I have to ask this question.
Why y'all not? Like, come on, man.
This sounds like some sort of New York industry event. They're the worst. I hate going to those, but you two are industry people. would you guys would have been in the front
What?
wilding, or would you have been drinking your cranberry vodka
been
and
doing the
recording the
same-
whole
Oh, I
thing?
might have been
I'd have
dancing. I might have been dancing. I might have
I
been
might have been
dancing.
dancing.
Two drinks in my hand, right in the front row. Bro, I'd have been trying to get on stage and host with them. Like that's a moment.
Yo, me and
like,
Lo would have been overdoing the daps. You know, when you get excited and you just keep
Yeah,
dapping your
like-
boy like, oh, then, yo, it'd have been going on. It'd have been
bro,
going on
like,
in there.
we would have been having a great time. But, again, that's
It'd have
Miami.
been going on.
I personally think they should have had that at the Apollo. Like, that would have been crazy if they had the Apollo and just understanding what these records mean
Yeah,
to the
but
culture.
we not outside. We not outside like Miami is. So,
Yeah, we not yet. We not there yet.
There was no
Bro,
masks. There
on
was
top of
none,
each
they
other.
was loose in there.
Yeah.
Going.
I made another version of the cheat sheet, so you can check that on Apple Music. And me making those cheat sheets just goes to show how many records that these two have with, an array of different artists. I didn't even touch the records that I made on the first one.
Cole Army. Nadeska has let us know that she is a part of the Cole Army. I didn't know one existed, but clearly she's got a membership card.
Where do you think these streaming numbers come from? Where do you think these sold out tours come from, Ebro?
Hey,
Stop
listen, I don't
playing.
want no smoke with the Cole Army, bro. I'm just saying, I didn't know. I just thought it was
Can we
people
just go
enjoy
back
this
to
music.
Low-Key? Let's hear his thoughts. He was sharing some
Well, no,
really great
I
thoughts
wanted
on
to point this out because there was a J. Cole verse played
Yeah.
over DMX, Nas, Jay-Z bath salts, as if there may be a Cole remix about to drop.
How did it sound?
Crazy.
It sounded fire to me.
Sounded fire.
But it was definitely a oh wow moment. It was definitely a oh wow moment when it happened. It was like, wait, that's because Swizz was like, yo, off that DMX, I gotta play, whoop, whoop, whoop. And then
Right.
boom, the beat drops. And then Cole, like, you're like, what? Wait,
Is that J.
wait, what's
Cole?
going on?
Right.
Yeah.
Jermaine is outside, guys. Jermaine is outside.
Yo,
finally. He
Jermaine's
made
in the
it.
club. He was in the club in that
Out
moment.
here. Jermaine finally made it to live. It's what we've all been waiting for.
That was a prime
All
time
right.
moment. So yeah, shout to Tim and shout to Swizz. Shout the Verzuz.
Well,
So
not
was
only that,
great.
but like y'all been asking, this wasn't just a celebration of music. This was a battle. Like they was going song for song. This was not just, it was a friendly, but it was still a battle. Like Swizz was talking shit.
Nah, it was
and they
friendly
was trying
fire.
to, it was friendly fire.
I think if
Who do you
won the
think
battle
won,
then?
Lo?
I think if Timbo maybe had put his drink down a couple times, some of his selections might have been a little bit better. But he was having a good time up there. It's Memorial Day weekend. He's in Live. He got his that's the uncle outfit that you wear at the barbecue.
Hey, yo, this is a Rap Life review. I want to rap and salute Lil Baby. I want to salute and send love to the Floyd family, who has had to relive the murder of their beloved family member, George Floyd, over and over again over the last year through the trial, and also just George Floyd becoming a name and a face associated with being murdered by police. When we talk about police brutality and police accountability in America. And that family invited, I guess, Lil Baby joined the Floyd family with their attorney Ben Crump at the White House last week when they had a meeting with Joe Biden and the Vice President Kamala Harris because there is a new bill that Biden and team are trying to pass with regard to police reform, which is called the George Floyd bill. Lil Baby, with that record he put out, The Bigger Picture, when everybody was protesting last summer. The fact that Lil Baby showed up in this moment and continues to show up, I think is something that, hip hop, I didn't know him well enough to expect this, but I'm glad it's happening. And it's causing him to even write, I believe, more in depth into his lyrics. Nadeska, I don't know if you have any thoughts here.
Yeah, I love Lil Baby. This is something I would never have expected him to show up at the White House and be excited to have a meeting with Kamala Harris and take this all so seriously. And I think the more I learn about Lil Baby, the more sides I see of him as an artist. He seems like he's turning into a philanthropist. Like, I feel like we're watching sort of one of our future legends in the making. You know what I mean? And I hope that 10 years from now we can look back and be like, we actually saw him taking those steps. Because if you think about where Baby was 3-4 years ago when he was first dropping music, no one could have expected that musically he would turn out to be great and he would care socially and politically, because we see a lot of our favorites, they just check out at some point. So I'm just so impressed by him. And of course, if we're talking about influence right now, I don't know if there's another rapper who's more influential than Lil Baby at the moment. So I think what he's doing is really, really amazing. And I just, I'm here to watch him grow and here to support him and see him do much more like this.
I love it. I mean, just to echo the Deska's comments, I never would have looked at him 2-3 years ago and see him be in this position or see him speak so passionately about the streets or about him trying to be the voice for the younger culture or, whatever have you. And I like that he's not trying to make this moment about himself. It's about the greater picture, the bigger picture, and that's it. This is something that a lot of younger artists that love him and look up to him should take notes from. And so I just want to encourage it, applaud it, and I hope he continues to do things like this. And, with the album coming out, whatever the case is. But I do love that he's not making it about himself and not rolling out a campaign or whatever the case is. This is just, for this specific issue. So I do love what he's doing, and I appreciate it.
And an even more powerful piece, I think, for the audience, that we could kind of tie all this together, that we get to this point with this culture, hip hop, right? The reason we gather around every week and do Rap Life Review is because there's this culture that has become an international phenomenon that, Black youth created out of the desire to want to make music that spoke to the experiences that they were going through and create art that also exemplified those experiences right here in the Bronx, New York City, and went on to shape, everything that's popular right now in music. It is Black Music Month, so we should point that out. I mean, look, we do Rap Life Review, so every month is Black Music Month for us. But, for the greater world, we have taken the initiative here at Apple Music to make Black Music Month an international celebration, right? Because of what Black music, music from the descendants who were slaves coming out of Africa, African music, and Black North American Black music has done to shape popular culture around the world. Whether it's K-pop, whether it's house music, whether it's soul music, whether it's blues, country music, all of those things came from Black Americans and the experience here in America. So for that, just coming full circle to what Lil Baby and these artists now leaning into making sure they use their platform to speak for some of the things going on in the streets and the experiences that they've had to overcome to become, the people that they are, that we continue to fight. On that note of continuing to fight, now this week was the centennial, 100 years since the Tulsa Race Massacre, where a thriving Black community was burnt to the ground by a white mob. Those families still have not received any victims' compensation from the government, because that was something that took place by domestic terrorism, and you see a lot of other victims' compensation funds when the terrorism comes from, terrorists abroad, like with 9/11. And now, right, you have, the true reckoning that this nation has to deal with what has happened to many Black families and many Black communities that had real estate that was redlined, or in this scenario in Greenwood, that area of Tulsa, which was burnt to the ground. 300 people died. And the community still hasn't recovered. And you have some of the victims who are 106 years old. And the president, Joe Biden, went to meet with them and speak on it. And I think all of that's dope. But in a country that is about capitalism and it is about money, this money's going to need to start flowing back to the communities and the people who have been done wrong. So, to bring that full circle, to see Lil Baby, who showed up for the George Floyd family at the White House, George Floyd's family was compensated tens of millions of dollars from the city and the state of Minnesota and the city of Minneapolis. So we just need to keep the heat on, keep the pressure on these politicians. Make sure you get out there and vote. Make sure you vote local. And, you know, we got a big fight ahead of us. But, you know, we have this music, this hip hop. And salute to Lo, Nadeska. I'm Ebro. Salute to everybody that locks in with us every week for the Rap Life Review. We will see y'all next week.